do you feel something huge on the horizon?
Oh, absolutely. We're in for very big changes with the changes of the nodes and as a collective. We've been talking about this a lot in the ISFM in our morning group that we need to make room for what's coming in, because what's coming in is not what we're used to. And we have to be open to that change. And what is it with most people? We resist change, because it's fear. We'd rather stick with what we know, even if it's toxic sometimes, because we know how to navigate that. Toxic is familiar, and as sick as that sounds, we tend to do that a lot of times as people. It's like, because people are like, why do people always go back to their ex? Or why do they stay in that bad relationship? Because, again, with these weird word analogies, the devil you know is better than the devil you know.
Welcome to Witchcraft TV Airlines. The emergency exits are here and to the right and to the back of this presentation. Keep seatbelts fastened during this live stream and make sure your snack tray is full up. In case of possession, please notify cabin crew as they pass by. If your crystals explode, please use grounding and protect young children first. Welcome. It's Sunday. I almost said welcome to Saturday Night Live, but we're even better. Welcome to Sunday night. I'm Lady Selena, and that is Harold Carter. Welcome to Witchcraft TV, your one-stop shop for all things wondrous.
Absolutely. Lady Selena bringing mystical talents to the Witchcraft TV platform, offering free readings to all who seek guidance, readings designed to help maintain the platform. And absolutely, it is about 2:00 in Pacific time on the West Coast of the United States. And so, yeah, about the evening hours, Midwest. So how have you been doing, and what's going on? I see there's someone in the chat already, which is good. Joanne right there. Hey, Harold. Hey, Selena. Hey, Joanne. Blessed to be. Marry me. Glad to have you on. And make sure that you can check out Joanne's Witchcraft TV Tarot with Mind, Body, and Soul tomorrow night, Monday nights. And I believe that's 9 p.m. Eastern, if I'm not mistaken.
9 p.m.
And she has a master's degree in psychology. She reads oracles. She's empowering to the community, empowering to the people. And it's such a blessing and an honor to have her positivity right here on the www.witchcrafttv.online platform, where we are fair representation of all pagan, witch, and magic paths. But without further ado, I really want to get into what has been going on in the LGBTQ community. Lady Selena, what has been going on in the community? Can you give me some?
First of all, hi, Joanne. Joanne is a great reader, so definitely come check her out tomorrow night. She is wonderful to talk to, great content creators. So support your fellow tarot readers here at the network. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. A lot of it's to do with different states' rights, how each state is behaving when it comes to affordable care. That could be one of them. And basic human rights, which have come up again on the surface. John Revel is in the chat. I almost said trap. Hello, you're pretty.
Welcome, John. Looks like John would love a reading. That sounds great. John, in the comment section, if you don't mind, let us know your question. Your zodiac, your sun sign kind of helps. If you have particular questions or you want an overall reading, definitely have that going. So please type that into the comments. And
then more question, John. A lot of it's to do with states' rights at the minute. In the last administration, everyone in the LGBTQ community had the ability to get care. They had the ability to get treatments, no matter what those treatments are. They also had free reign to do same-sex marriages as well. So what's been going on is a lot of those have now been put down to individual states and how each one of those states wants to kind of act? Am I going to get more money in work tomorrow? That's actually a really good question. I don't really do finances, but let's see what the card has for you, my friend. All right.
So John's meeting with his boss man tomorrow too, and you pulled up the Queen of Cups.
Yes, I did. Guilty
He's born
as charged.
His birthday April 19th, and that's going to put him at, is that an Aries or a Pisces?
Aries.
April.
So the Queen of Cups is a deeply feminine card. Deals a lot with this idea of your inner personality, how you're feeling based on your emotions. So there are times when we get nervous about work, right? It's a part of us inside that kind of acts like a mother. I believe that all men and women all have feminine and masculine parts to them. And with this card, it's kind of telling you to go with your gut feelings, to go with what you already think is going to happen and just trust it. But the downside is this is one of those cards that can be affected by others. In other words, sometimes people can they can get swept along with the emotions, no matter how good or how bad those emotions could be. And it's a caring card, right? A lot of people who look at the Queen of Cups see her as beauty, but then again, what is beauty? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, our talents, our abilities, our gifts, right? A lot of times when we talk about the Queen of Cups, this is a daydreaming card. Dreaming of the bigger picture, dreaming of going above and beyond, dreaming of things that we want to do, how we want to be, how we want to act. So in relation to your work, when you're thinking about possible promotions, when you're thinking about where you're going to be in 5, 10, 15 years, the Queen of Cups is encouraging you to dream, to think, to kind of picture yourself in the roles that are going to be available to you. A lot of people, right, they always think that daydreaming is kind of wasted without realizing that daydreaming actually helps because it shows you the possible paths, and nothing in life is easy, but with the power of daydreaming or dreaming in general, we can always find our way forward. So it's not a bad card. This is a supportive card in the sense that those around you will support you in a time of need. Not that you're going to go through a cataclysmic change, but it's always important to have a support group around you. Even I have a support group, people always making sure that I'm doing okay, right? Am I going to get more money in work? Okay, so as I said, it's a daydreaming card, but nothing wrong with daydreaming. Sometimes when we work hard, right, we get successful, we picture what we could do with more finances and picture how we can move ahead. So I'm not going to say 100% for sure, but your intuition will guide you along that path. So hopefully that helped, John. And good luck.
If I can add a little bit to that. So John is going to meet with the boss man tomorrow, and I'm thinking that I don't want to give like magic lessons because I'm still learning, magic and, positive frequency and positive manifestation. But if I'm feeling like if you can visualize yourself having that meeting with the boss man tomorrow, and you just kind of visualize in your mind's eye that the outcome of what you wanted to happen, however you're going to be accumulating, more money, with your workflow, visualize that it already happened, or a positive outcome, and put that frequency out and manifest that to, up to the astral worlds. And I think that a positive outlook of it is better, like it already happened and it's already happening. And I'm not sure exactly how to tap into that, but I think the mind has a potential to be a very powerful, potent thing. And I think positivity is what we really need to work on instead of manifesting like negative things in any capacity. Would you agree with that, Lady Selena?
Oh, absolutely. I think a lot of times people always, they kind of catastrophize things instead of thinking, yeah, I can do this, or yes, everything's going to be fine. I think a lot of times we hold ourselves back. We think of the worst case scenario, but your mind is the most powerful weapon. You know, if you're feeling positive, if you're telling yourself everything's going to be okay, you send that energy out. It's kind of, it's almost like giving yourself a hug and a pep talk before going into battle. You will be okay. Can you do one for, I can't even pronounce the name, Cedar Mush X? He just built a new PC, but it's a bit of a dope. Okay. Since you are so nicey, all right, let me see what we can do. All right. You ready for the second reading? Brace yourself. Winter is coming. Wait, I've always wanted to say that. All right. So let's do this.
Ten of Swords.
10 of Swords. Not the best card in the world, but not the worst card in the world. Ah, boy. All right. I just hate talking the swords kind of sweet because it's very restrictive. This is a doom card to some degree, that we go through our lives and we think everything's okay when everything's not okay. We kind of make that mistake of thinking that people have the best interests or our best interests in mind, and they really don't. This is a card that deals with the aftermath of a breakup, the aftermath of something that's gone wrong, the exhausting feelings that you get, right? A lot of times when we go through cataclysmic changes in our life, it can make us feel incredibly low. It can make us sick. This is a card that kind of mingles well with the Tower. Everything comes tumbling down, but with that, everything can be rebuilt. End of a cycle. Yeah. Everything in life is a part of a cycle. In other words, light, dark, life, death, rebirth. These cycles can bring depression. They can bring sadness. They can make you smile. They can make you cry. And the whole point of it is to realize that you are meant for things that are better. Sometimes when we hit rock bottom, we build ourselves back up. You know, a lot of us who are in the pagan community, we've all experienced this, right? Harold here, who's reformed, great guy, has come a long way, has rebuilt his life from literally rock bottom to now being the head of Witchcraft TV. So use that as a way to give yourself a pep talk that no matter how bad things are going to get, you'll be all right, right? And my main man, Josh, he just back from Donegal. Is that a World of Warcraft reference? He had good mince for dinner. Actually, I miss spaghetti, mince meat. Do you remember it? Donegal? Okay, so Warcraft player. Gotcha. But either way, the Ten of Swords is a restricting card. And the reason why it's restrictive, when we go through times that like, no good place in Ireland. Okay, 2 places. All right. When we go through hardship, it can feel that it will restrain us, right? We feel trapped. With that, we rebuild. So the Ten of Swords, not the best card in the world, but not the worst. The other thing with this card is, and for your friend, is never play the victim. This is one of the warning signs of the card. If you're really going to rebuild your life, then paint yourself as the hero. Paint yourself as able to overcome anything. He likes WWE. Hey, nothing wrong with WWE. It's actually a good company. Probably shouldn't be advertising for WWE on this channel, but hey, they can come out. So there we go. I hope that helps with that reading.
Yeah, thanks so much for that. So back to, the discussion that we're talking about with the LGBTQ community, and, particularly with a lot of the elders in the community that are forming groups and organizations because of the contemporary political shifting and the oppression that may or may not be a trajectory of, more oppression for marginalized communities like the LGBTQ and like witches and pagans. Have you seen?
Like what's been going on is, again, it's states' rights. There are states which are vehemently pro LGBTQ, and then there are states which are attacking them. And again, the biggest weakness that this country has, the biggest weakness, is the fact that it's never fully healed from the great Christian era, from the great era of dogma, rhetoric, and fear-mongering. You know, as a historian, you could look back at the entire history of this young country, right? And it's like we see cycles, right? So we see when society was kind of, everything was fine, then something happens, then it goes through the cycles again. What we're now seeing is a return to before the first Civil War, which is states' rights coming into question. What has happened to heterosexuals? Nothing too much, really. I mean, relationships are still a thing, right? I think also people are afraid to some degree of the LGBTQ movement simply because it was getting out of control. I'll say this quite openly. I've been a member of the LGBTQ world for quite some time, but I would agree that it went into it went into overdrive. And because it went into overdrive, now everybody's like treading on eggshells. They're like, oh my gosh, you're one of those people. It's John says, true as a country, we are more babes compared to the EU, UK, and the Netherlands. Yeah, you're right. 100% right. American history is only a couple of hundred years old. You know, you have to remember that this country was co-founded by immigrants. If you really go back, it belonged to indigenous tribes. But when the immigrants first came over, there's only a couple of hundred years ago, then history played out. But it's a very, very, very young country. In the EU, there's drama already with the LGBTQ plus world. There's a huge big rift between the churches in the UK, between the Islamic Church and the Christian Church, and that's being played out across the entire media. In the EU, everybody's arguing about, again, carving up states, carving up local powers, right? It's almost as if the world wants another return to World War I, which, again, it was everybody wanted a fight. How are we going to have a fight? Well, we're going to build stuff. Then we test stuff. And by testing stuff, we're going to now have a fight with somebody else because they have stuff. The Netherlands has always been very pro-LGBTQ plus. But the Netherlands has also had its fair share of history and its fair share of the brutality of what happens with the other or the savages, right? You know, when we look at the history of slavery, when we look at how trade was done, there's a lot of blood there. But as far as the US goes, this country's still young. I mean, if this country was a child, I would say it's barely out of being a toddler, as my cat here agrees. Right? You agree? Really?
Wow. So a younger country dealing with modern societal norms. It's kind of, it's just, I think the hierarchy.
One of the questions or one of the talking points that was being, or still is being, kind of had within the LGBTQ world is how do we dampen down the levels of kind of mass media focus? You know, how do we represent ourselves but not as kind of evil people after kids and all of this? And it's very hard to do that because we have different states pushing laws that they shouldn't be doing. Same-sex marriages, again, has come into question. There are a lot of really strong talking points, and there's a lot of fear out there, especially fear in certain states, which I'm not going to mention. And if you guys want a reading, I will be doing live readings. Get a reading. Right. By the way, is introducing Lexi the cat. Right. Let me go up.
So how long have you had Lexi? When did she become part of your family?
She's been with me for about 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
And she's a bit possessive. Just ask my dog, Sammy, what happens if she gets too close to me when I'm holding her. She gets a little bit frisky. Pull me a general card. What do I need to know? Careful what you wish for, because I might just tell you. All right. Let me know when you're ready. All right. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Card is
10 of Cups.
10 of Cups. Boom. My hand boy is like that. Interesting. There you go. 10 of Cups. This is positive card. This deals with a strong base of which you have your ethics at. It deals with the home, deals with family, deals with this idea that everything's going to be fine. It really is one of those cards that gives you a great big hug and says, hey, look at what you've done. Look at where you are. Look at what you have in life, where your family came from, what they believed in. Everything's kind of, it's giving you the good news without giving you the good news by saying everything's fine. It's everything to do with finances. It's everything to do with just being comfortable, being stable, right? Indeed, my cat. Hey, cats are cute. So it really is, it's kind of like a personal pep talk when you're feeling down, when you're feeling kind of out of it, and you pull this card and it's kind of like, hey, everything's going to be okay. About a month after my dad died, I was traveling back. I was with a friend. We were in her car. And I wasn't doing that great. I was going through grief. And we were talking in the car, and suddenly the radio turns on with the song Everything's Going to Be Okay, Bob Marley's song. And hearing that song, I just burst into emotion. And then the next day I drew this card as well. Everything's going to be fine. No matter what happens, everything's going to be fine. It's one of those kind of subtle things where you know you're going to be fine. Your consciousness is telling you you're going to be fine. And you know what? You just need to remind yourself, you're fine. You're okay. You just need that gentle hug.
Hell yeah. Lady Selena, when I say don't worry, you say
be happy.
Don't worry.
Be happy. Here's a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it note for note. Don't worry.
Be
I can't
happy.
sing. It's just what I felt today, not just sad, but what's next. Thanks for hugging me. Big hug. Everybody in the audience sing, don't worry. Be happy. Hashtag be happy right now.
Joanne says, that's just what I felt today, just not sad, but just what's next. Thanks for hugging me. Yep, cyber hugs going around. Cyber hugs going around.
A lot of times, I'm very open with people that have asked about recent events with me. Yeah, I've been suffering from depression, but you know what? I just tell myself to be happy, snap out of it.
No, a lot of times people say that being happy is a choice. I mean that's a hard one to chew for me sometimes, where it's like being positive is a choice, being happy is a choice, or like can a person really control themselves to when they're sad or when they feel?
Because you're clouded when you're for those that don't know, I was in hospital for almost a month, and I will tell you, before I went into hospital, I was sad. And I never knew just how sad I was because my emotions were all over the place. But when you're touched by sadness, you can't control it. I think a lot of times people kind of kid themselves. They fake it till they make it, and kind of they pretend to be happy even though they're not happy. And you can't really control your emotions. Just go with it. You can't fight emotions. If you're going to be sad, be sad. If you're going to be happy, be happy. And I think a lot of times it's okay to have bad days. It's okay to have good days. It's okay to have amazing days, right?
Mm-hmm.
John says yes and no. Be happy. Now I'm going to be singing that for the rest of the night.
Don't worry.
Be happy.
I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry.
I miss anything. Hey, behave, John. Watching you.
Yeah, we got your eye on you, John.
Ninja.
Yeah, be happy, be positive. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right here on www.witchcrafttv.online. We'll be right back. After these messages, we'll be right back.
Peace, Manny DeBardio, Magical Renaissance, new pagan rap albums. Who keep their beliefs and lies to achieve control. You need to let go, you let the need for external power touch your soul. Based on druidry, alchemy, mysticism, Renaissance magic. Transformation is a constant, a process through time. And the underground European resistance against economical and religious authority. Nou, het individu kan zelfstandig tot de wet komen. En zichzelf volgen, geen enkele kerk nodig. Available on all music platforms, but please download it on Bandcamp. You get 2 bonus tracks and an essay in which I explain the philosophy and the history behind the lyrics. Nor do they want to heal, nor do they know it's real about the field of divinity. The 3-man kneel instantly to rule in obedience to the symphony. You call it nature. Je weet dat ik nu voor simpele raps kies. Magische aanvoerder naar interconnectie. Tijd voor een injectie van reflectie. Ik ben Keltisch tegen alle circuits. Magical Renaissance.
And we're back. Welcome back to the land of the living. We have not crashed yet, but the emergency exits are still behind me. Welcome back. My name is Lady Selena, and that is Harold Carter. We are doing live tarot, general chit chat, and more. So keep it here at witchcrafttv.online.
Absolutely. Keep it right here. Fair representation of all pagan, witch, and magic paths in the chat room. Joanne said, absolutely. As humans, we will have different emotions. It's the strategies we put in place that help us.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what kind of strategies do we put in place? I think maybe saying to be able to stay optimistic, even in trying times, even when, you know, people are trying to let you down, or a situation let you down, or, you know, somebody's gaslighting you. And I think the big word these days that I keep hearing a lot more and more is narcissistic traits, like people that are narcissistic. And I see that a lot. Like,
Yeah.
I see that a lot. That's like a big rhetoric, or like a new thing. It's like a word that is like caught fire in people's vocabulary.
It's kind of like people, the narcissistic trait, right? The idea that you want to become the main character, the main person on the stage at the cost of everything else. And yeah, you're right. It's kind of many people in society have gone down that route. Absolutely, as humans, we're doing. Yeah, the thing about being human is, I think also it's good to remind ourselves that we're not perfect. I think when we admit to ourselves, when I do ministry, I always remind people we're not perfect because we're not. We're not designed to be perfect. We're designed to go through life's little journeys. We're designed to have the good times, the bad times. It's part of our hidden psyche, if that makes any sense.
So John in the chat room, and if he promises to behave, he's asking to please give my partner Alexandra a reading. She is Russian and she like horror movies and stuff. I'm not sure exactly what the reading's for. Perhaps a general reading, if you don't mind. And as long as John promises to behave, I think that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, behave, John.
General reading for John about Alexandra, who's a Russian and she likes horror movies. And then we'll get to some comments with Joanne.
Right.
Two of Wands.
Two of Wands. This is a decision card. Where do you go from this point forwards, right? Do you do one thing? Do you do another thing? Should you stay? Should you go? Everything's about choice, right? I think in relationships, we always have these kind of moments, whether we stay in what we think is the right thing or whether we go a totally different route. This is one of those cards that brings up these metaphysical questions, what to do. A lot of times in life, right, we always have these questions popping up in our minds about whether or not we're doing the right thing, whether or not we're doing the wrong thing, whether or not we should try this, whether or not we should try that. I think a lot of times, because it is subjective, you already know the answer. If she is Russian, likes horror movies, nothing wrong with that. I think a lot of it also deals with how people interact with each other. Is this the right relationship? Is it the wrong relationship? It is, am I okay? Am I not okay? Should I stay? Should I do this? It's a question and answer card, but subjectively speaking, you already know the answers. That's one of the reasons why the Two of Wands can really confuse people, because it says one thing and then you do another thing. But by doing another thing, then it's going to bring the question back up. And so it's kind of like the infinity of all questions, right? You know the answer, but you don't want to hear the answer. You know the question, but you don't want to know the question. But it will just continue to play out as long as you have these unresolved thoughts. So hopefully that helped.
Should I go or should I stay now?
If I go, there will be trouble. Okay.
Reminds me of that song. Joanne is saying, yes, healthy boundaries, self-care, being gentle with yourself. What are you putting in your body? Are you feeding your mind, body, and spirit? I cannot say that enough.
Your body's a machine. Your spirit controls it for the time that we have on this world. I believe, as Joanne said, healthy boundaries. Sometimes it's okay to say no to people. Sometimes it's okay to put yourself first. When I do live streams, I always like to remind people just to ground and center, just to focus, right? Going through what I went through, being in hospital twice, one of the things I've learned is just to not beat yourself up. It's pointless, right? Like, one of the things I used to do is beat myself up the whole time with all these different kind of metaphysical questions, right? Judging whether or not I'm good or bad, or all of these feelings. And I overcame that just by thinking, what am I doing? Like, why am I just not able to forgive myself and just being able to heal myself? If you really want to heal the world, you've got to start with you first. You've got to admit, hey, we're not perfect. We're imperfect. We're not perfect.
Healthy boundaries. I think that's important. And for an example with healthy boundaries, a lot of times people will come to me or the Witchcraft TV platform, and they'll say, I want to do a show, or I want to work with the station. I want to be involved. And I'm just like, I want to help everybody, and I want to give everyone a voice. And sometimes their voices are destructive, and it's something that I don't really vet because I'm trying to be fair to everybody. So it's hard to put up boundaries, even for like stuff like that. If you're trying to maintain, a positive platform, like Witchcraft TV, I'm trying to make it as positive that I can. And this is coming from somebody that, wasn't the most positive person, earlier on in my life. So they're just learning curves. So boundaries are important. And sometimes I guess the lesson to that is it's okay to say no if it's going to be destructive to you or other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks, Joanne, for what you said about that. Yes, healthy boundaries, self-care. I like the element of self-care. Sometimes I have to remember, go comb your hair, or go shave your face nice, and make sure you're wearing nice clothes, and and not working so much and not taking care of yourself. Self-care. Like sometimes I just get wrapped up in the work, particularly in media, and I forget to take a bath. And just like you just wake up one morning, it's like, wow, you kind of smell a little ripe, Harold. You might want to go take care of yourself. So self-care is important, because how can you really take care of other people if you're not taking care of yourself?
Yeah, this is true.
How are you going to help clean up, somebody else's backyard, but your backyard's like all messy with, stuff everywhere. Being gentle with yourself. Joanne says, what you're putting in your body reminds me of what you are is what you eat. And it's no secret. Americans, particularly American, I can't speak for other countries, but we have all kinds of crap that we eat. Hamburgers, juicy, greasy, delicious French fries, and, just sugar and all these things. And they're all, it's like processed foods, where other countries and cultures are kind of, particularly like Mediterranean diets, they're eating way more healthy. And because of that, the people there will probably have a lot more longevity. They're healthier, they're leaner. And I think that the pagan community overall is on a good path, because a lot of the pagan communities that I've been involved in, they eat really well, right out of the garden. They're stepping away from red meat. A lot of them aren't meat eaters at all. Me particularly, I like white meats, and I try to eat well. What I have read a lot about is the Rosicrucians. The Rosicrucians, they have like a really cool different diet where they say don't eat red meat at all because it has ash, it causes aging. And as some of the Eastern religious gurus out there, all they do is eat a small amount of nuts, and they barely eat anything, just enough to sustain them. And these guru people out there, they're living to like 100 years old and stuff. I want to get to the chat room here. Eric Cooper, welcome to Witchcraft TV Tarot. Nice to have you in. Merry meet. Eric goes on to say, grow your own food today, as you don't know what you're buying anymore. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Selena, I go
processed.
Yeah, everything processed. I go shopping, and all I see is a bunch of like stuff that's horrible for you. And back to the anything closer to the earth. Anytime you consume something that is close to the earth, that's coming out of the earth, is better for your body. Closer to earth is more healthy. I think that's the overall thing. Yeah. Grow your own food today, as you don't know what you're buying anymore. And I think a lot of people in our community, particularly the pagan community, witchcraft communities, do have gardens. We do grow their own food, and it's way better. If you compare a tomato that you grow in your own garden compared to the stores, just look at them and observe them. I mean, just looks a hell of a lot better, I would say. In the comments, Joanne says, our outer world is a manifestation of our inner world self.
Yep.
You elaborate on that? You elaborate on that, Lady Selena. I also would like to welcome Michelle Wood. Thank you so much for watching Witchcraft TV Tarot with Lady Selena. And can you elaborate on that? The outer world is a manifestation of our inner world. What does that mean?
Yeah, it's because we're our own universe. When we think big, right, we take a step back, we look at what the universe is with the divine polarity between as above, so below. As above, so below, kind of, well, it does state that you are your own universe. If you've ever wondered the true mystery of the divine, what exactly does the universe look like? Well, it could be a representation of us, everything that's on the inside, right? So if we're eating well, if we're being healthy, that manifests all around us. It shows. People can tell by your skin, they can tell by the life with your eyes that you are a functioning universe. The idea is inside you, you have a universe that has life, right? You have body organs and blood and bones and everything's alive, just as the universe is alive. And it just goes to show when we take care of ourselves, then it shows. People can tell if you're okay. They just have to look at you. Sometimes they can read your aura. But yeah, the outer world is the same as the inner world. It's kind of one of those weird ways to think about it. You're a universe. Who knew? Well, pretty much everyone. But you are a universe.
A universe inside of a universe. What's the saying that they say occultically? As within is as without.
Correct.
So,
yeah.
And another way to bend reality or cause change around you, which is kind of like a witchy thing to do, and I like that. But if they're changing what's going on with you specifically inwards, it's going to change around you too. I think, like a frequency, and then you're getting into like attracts like. I believe, right, Lady Selena?
Yeah, like attracts like, positive attracts positive, negative attracts. It's a nice chaos theory. Eric Cooper says, I would add working in your garden brings you grounding and peace from the political chaos and threats around you. Oh, 100%, Eric.
Absolutely.
We're surrounded by media the whole time. Part of what makes society so violent. I was thinking this yesterday. I was out with a drive with a friend because she keeps on, she's been helping me deal with things that I'm dealing with. And we're driving back and we drove through this protest. And it dawned on me. You see all these people in chaos, all these people that are riled by the media, right? If it bleeds, it leads. The media is it is intoxicating everybody around it, so that when we take time away from the screen, right, we're not listening to the news, we're not being kind of told violence, 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 hate, 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 all of the rhetoric, right, then we can just be ourselves. And gardening, my mother would always talk to plants, always. And it only dawned on me much later on in my life, the reason why she did it was as a form of therapy. Because when you're with nature and you're holding the soil, you're kind of tending to your crops, you're calming yourself down. You're not being like a mindless person attracted to the talking heads that are telling you, hate this, attack this, go here, go there. You are your own person. And so, yeah, if you have a garden, just go garden. Just be out with nature. Just learn how to listen. I used to drink. I then started gardening. I no longer drink. Truth be told, I quit alcohol 5 years ago. And how I did it wasn't through medication. I just decided I'm going to garden. I'm going to, every time I think I want to drink, no, I'm going to go tend to my flowers. And then having animals with everything, the sort of need for alcohol was gone. Now that worked for me. It may not work for everyone, but if you find something that takes you out of this cycle of hate, out of like the 10-second news bites that we see in the talking media, you'll be a better person. And when I saw these people protesting yesterday, I mean, I live in a small town, but to me it was a lot of people. And I was thinking to myself, what exactly are they doing? Like, I was watching all these younger people. I was watching all these people on both sides of the road, and there's no violence, no anything. But I was watching them going, you do realize there's better things to do than piss off, anger everybody else by your actions. Go garden, go for a walk, do something to get that aggression out, because holding all these signs and kind of spewing hate, that doesn't work. It just makes everybody hate you. Sorry, that's my preachy moment. Do apologize for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, the like attracts like. And, particularly any community, when someone's just always saying and pointing the fingers at others, saying what a horrible person that they are, and focusing on negative things. If you're constantly focusing on negative things, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing positive in your own life when you're reflecting on others and not reflecting on yourself? And I think that the message today is, don't worry, be happy. I think the message today has been optimistic thinking, raising the bar of frequency. It's hard these days because you have, such an influence with politics, such an influence with, particular people in communities, that have a following and they have their own agendas and motive. But I think that the most beautiful motive in the world, I think, is perhaps, I don't know, love. Maybe I'm not sure. That's a good question. What is the most beautiful motive in the world, Lady
Love.
Selena? I would love to hear your thoughts, and then
Love.
we're going to have to wrap it up because we're at the end of the hour.
Love. We always look at love like it's just a word, but it's more than just a word. If you've ever wanted to know the secret of life, it's just sometimes let go. Sometimes when we start showing a love for life, when we start showing a love for each other, then all of this hateful rhetoric just kind of goes away. And like Eric Cooper just said, with my job tracking extremist groups, I love Witchcraft TV. Yeah, we are a grounding source because we don't mince words. Part of the, like, when we use the word love, we don't use it like intercourse or anything. We use it for the love that we have for each other, the idea that we all learn. I learn from Harold learns from me, I learn from everyone.
Yeah.
And I believe very strongly that if people would just turn off the TV and ignore the hateful rhetoric, I believe that society will calm down. Going back to this protest I said earlier, can you imagine if all of those people on both sides of the road actually were focused, actually were thinking, they'd be at home with their families, they'd be at home having cherished time, because you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. If you don't love yourself, you're not going to spend time with others. And I believe that love is powerful, and not just the boyfriend, girlfriend type love, self-love. Who are you? What are you doing, right? I admit I had a drinking problem. I quit drinking 5 years ago, but I admit it because I'm not perfect. Not even close to being perfect. I'm just Lady Selena. I read tarot and I'm just me, right? I ain't perfect, but I've learned how to love myself, even though, like with every human, we're all flawed. Every single one of you. But what you can do is just love yourself. Just like look at yourself and think, hey, you know what? You're going to be all right. No matter how bad you may feel, no matter if it's like tornadoes everywhere, if you can just tell yourself, hey, you're good today, you'll be fine. You'll be good. And you'll be set.
Mm-hmm. I think that the pagan communities, the witchcraft communities, the magical communities, I feel like we are a responsible bunch. And I think that digs a little bit more than people realize. Because, I mean, in thinking from Christianity perspective, we don't pass the buck to a particular sun god to wash away all of our sins. We own it. We live it. We take responsibility for our own actions, and we don't pass the buck. I love you all. I want to end the show for now. I'm going to leave you with an outro of a show that you can watch on Witchcraft TV every night at midnight with Uncle Birch. So make sure you keep it right here on www.witchcrafttv.online. We are fair representation of all pagan, witch, and magic paths.
Y'all know about witchcrafttv.online? Been watching that the last couple days. Constantly going. I'm learning interesting stuff. And it turns out, apparently, I have a show there at midnight every night at witchcrafttv.online. Witchcrafttv.online. Check that out. I'm going to tune in at midnight and see what it is I'm doing.